class. Let us go through a new lesson in science, that is your 10th lesson, force, work and energy. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe the different kinds of forces. You will be able to differentiate between simple and complex machines. You will be able to identify the various types of simple machines and the different ways in which they are useful. You will also describe the different types of energy. So let us go through the lesson. First of all, force. What do you mean by force? Can you all see the picture here? So a boy is moving an object here. In this picture, the boy is catching the ball. Here she is playing, where force is used to change the direction of the object. Here the boy is about to change the shape of an object. He is rolling chapati, isn't it? So the shape of the dough here changes into a flat surface. So what the force is able to do, how the force will help you to do your work. And let us study what is a force. What is a force, children? Why do you apply force on anything? Yes, force is a push or a pull that acts on an object. A force is a push, either you push or you pull an object, isn't it? That is force. So you apply force when you kick the football. You apply force when the pages of the book are turned. So likewise, you have many examples. Whenever you do something, you apply force, isn't it? Yes. So what is force? It is a push or a pull is said to be the force. So what are the effects of force on an object? When force is applied on an object, it can make an object move from its original place. It can stop a moving object. Here the boy is catching the ball. That means the ball was moving. So the boy is applying the force on the ball and the ball is made to stop. Here force can change the direction of a moving object. The cock moves towards the girl, so the girl makes the object to turn its direction, to change its direction. And the force can change the shape of any object. Yes? Let us study about the different types of force, children. Muscular force, gravitational force, frictional force, elastic and mechanical force. Coming to muscular force, you use your muscles in order to do many work like opening a door or writing in your notebook, isn't it? Yes. So your muscles will help you to apply the force on objects. That force is known as muscular force. What do you mean by gravitational force? Every object in this universe will attract the object that is near it. That force of attraction between the objects in the universe is said to be gravitational force. So you all have played with a ball, isn't it? So you have thrown the ball towards the sky. So the ball which is thrown towards the sky will come back again to you. So how is that possible? That is because of Earth's gravity. The gravity of the Earth will pull the object towards it. That is why anything that is thrown up will come back to its own position, or we can say that anything that is thrown up towards the sky or the atmosphere will come back towards the earth. That is because of gravitational force. Coming to frictional forces, if you have played with a toy car, you will push your toy car. As you push, it will move to a certain distance, then it will stop. How is that it will stop? How do you think the moving car will stop? So, moving car will stop because of frictional force. It is a force acting on an object which is moving. So, the frictional force will act in opposite direction on a moving object. If the object is moving from left to right, then the frictional force will act in the opposite direction, that is from right towards the left, in order to stop that moving object. Did you all understand? Yes. So friction is very important in our daily life. Without friction, we cannot do any of our work properly. For us to walk properly on any surface, on a muddy road or a smoothy road, or we can say if we want to walk on a slippery road, we need friction. Because of friction only, we can walk properly on any surfaces. It may be smooth surface or rough surface. So, smooth surfaces will cause less friction than the rough surfaces. Without friction, anything that is moving will never stop by itself. Coming to elastic force, all have played with a rubber band, isn't it? You have pulled, you have stretched the rubber band as much as possible. So, there is a force acting in the rubber band, that is the elastic force. The force that resists stretching and makes the material to go back to its original state is elastic force. Mechanical force. It is a kind of force that causes the object on which it acts to change its motion or start moving. It can also bend or break the things. So force and work. Do you think force and work are related to each other? Of course, force and work will go hand in hand. Always they will be together. Do you think you can work without applying force? No. Always when you apply force only, you can do your work properly. Of course, the force applied will be less or sometimes it will be more. So here you can see a person is pushing a cart. When you have to apply force, you have to apply more force or less force in different things or different situations. You apply less force in order to move an empty cart, and you have to apply more force in order to move a cart which is full of things here. Therefore, in order to do more work, you have to apply more force. And in order to do the work, you have many types of machines, isn't it, children? Which are the types of machines you can see in your house in order to make your work easy? It may be like washing machines or sieving machines, isn't it? So all these are the smaller machines which are helpful in order to do your work, and it makes us to do our work easily. That is why we use machines in order to do our work very easily and in less time, isn't it? Let us study about machines. As I explained already, machines will help us to do our work more easily and in less time. So we have two types of machines. One is complex machine and the other one is simple machines. What do you mean by complex machines? We have the examples like washing machine and the sewing machine. So these machines will have more simple machines attached in it. Coming to simple machines, first of all, let us study about simple machines. Simple machines like scissors or knives or tweezers or pulley or screw is a simple machine. All these are simple machines. That means they help us to do our work by using force more efficiently. So these simple machines will help us to do our work. We have six basic simple machines. It may be lever, inclined plane, wedge, screw, pulley, wheel and axe. And complex machines are made up of these simple machines. Simple machines are joined together to make a big machine, that is the complex machine. Coming to the lever. Suppose you are asked to move a large rock. You will find it very difficult, isn't it, children? It is very much difficult for you to push or pull a large rock from its place. But if you are given a strong rod and a small stone, you can move the rock more easily with the help of the small stone and a long rod. So, here in this picture, you can see that a boy is trying to push a large rock with the help of a rod and a small stone. Now, we have to consider this large rock to be the load to be moved. So, one end of the rod is put under this large rock. The small stone supports the rod. The point at which the rod touches the stone is fixed and it will not move. So it is called the fulcrum. This point is called the fulcrum. And the rod is free to turn around the fulcrum. You will push down at the other end of the rod to shift the large rock. You have to apply force at the one end of the rod, this end of the rod. The other end of the rod is under the large rock, isn't it? With the help of fulcrum, you have to put efforts in the other end of the rod. So this push or force applied in order to move the load or the rock is called the effort of your body. Now you know how you have arranged a rod and a small stone under a large rock in order to push that large rock. So this arrangement is called a lever. So levers are of three types depending on the positions of effort, load and fulcrum. So usually we say it is first class lever, second class lever and third class lever. So in here, in the first class lever, the fulcrum is placed between the effort and the load. So you all have seesaw in your school. You might have seen seesaw in any park. So this seesaw is an example for first class lever. We have other examples also like the scissors, then claw hammer, then pilers, isn't it? So all these are the examples of first class lever. So we have to know about the principle of a second class lever. In this picture, we can see that in case of second class lever, the fulcrum is placed at the one end of the rod, whereas effort is put in the other end of the rod. And the load is placed in between the fulcrum and the effort. We have many examples of this kind of lever, like we have bottle opener, nutcracker and wheelbarrow. Can you see? Yes, see, fulcrum is here, load is here, and in the middle I can say, and the effort of the people is at the one side. So in case of third class lever, the fulcrum is at one end of the lever and the load is at the other end. And the effort is applied in between the fulcrum and the load. We have many examples like the tweezers, tongs, fishing rod. All these are the examples of third class lever. Next, let us study about inclined plane. It is also a type of simple machine or a platform, we can see, which makes our work easier. So, you might have visited the hospitals. You might have seen the nurse carrying a patient in the wheelchair will be taken upstairs or to the room with the help of a ramp there or an inclined plane. So this inclined plane or a ramp is also a type of simple machine. Actually, this ramp or a simple machine here is actually a slopey area or a slope that helps us move a load between two levels with less effort. We have many examples of inclined plane. A normal person, if he wants to load a heavy box into his lorry, what does he do? He will keep an inclined wooden plank by the side which touches the ground and the rear of the truck, so that he will be easily walking through that inclined wooden plank and he will be loading the heavy box into the rear of the truck. See here. Yes, and you have already studied about the wheelchair which is used in the hospitals when a person or a patient, when he is not able to walk, then he will be carried in a wheelchair. So a wheelchair can be easily pushed in an inclined plane in the hospital. So less effort is required in order to push the wheelchair through the ramp of the hospital. You might have seen a winding road in many places. When you go to Madikeri from Virajpet, you might have seen the winding road, isn't it, children? Why is that so? Because if a steep road were built directly up the side of a mountain, buses and cars would not be able to go up easily. It is very difficult. That is why winding roads with the gradual slope are built on the mountains. So less effort is needed to go up the mountain on these roads. Wedge. A wedge is made up of two inclined planes joined together to form a sharp edge, like a knife, an axe and a chisel. So coming to screw. All have seen screw. So screw looks like a nail with grooves. or a cut or a depression like thing. It has a winding edge called the thread. This winding edge is actually an inclined plane. The head of the screw has a groove for the tip of a screwdriver. The screwdriver fits into this groove and the screw is held against a piece of wood and its head is turned with the help of a screwdriver. The tip of the screw moves into the wood. Pulley. So all may have pulley which is fixed to your well. A simple pulley consists of a grooved wheel with a rope passing around it. So it is actually used to lift or support above the load. The load is tied to one end of the rope and the effort is applied at the other end of the rope. This pulley makes the work easier by simply changing the direction of the force. The downward effort is used to lift the load up. Usually, pulleys are used to pull water from a well. It is used in hoisting a flag also. It is used to lift bricks and cement in construction sites. Coming to wheel and axle, wheel, you might have seen wheel everywhere in the vehicles. Yes, a potter pushes a large wheel around with the foot or a handle and uses the force of the wheel to give shape to the clay at the center of the wheel. And you might have seen most of the machines have wheels in them. Some machines, it may be like cars, trucks and trains, move on wheels. If a wheel is fixed with a rod along with it, it is known as the axle. A wheel and an axle together makes up a simple machine. It can be used to lift heavy load using less effort. Let us study about the topic energy. Energy is the capacity or the ability to do work. We get energy from the food we eat, isn't it? Likewise, it is the ability to do work. Energy is the capacity or the ability to do work. There are many forms of energy in nature like light energy, heat energy, sound, electrical, mechanical, wind, water, geothermal and solar energies. Let us study one by one. Light energy is given out by the sun, fire, electrical bulbs, tube lights, candles and so on. So it will help us to see when the light is reflected off objects. Heat energy, we get heat energy when things are burnt. Fuels like petrol, diesel, coal and wood are burnt to get heat. Heat energy is used to cook food, keep our homes warm. It also produces electricity. So heat energy is also very important. Sound energy. How can you hear the sound? Sound is generated when objects vibrate due to the force applied on it. So, you have an example here. When a drum is hit, sound is produced. And it can be transferred through solids, liquids or gases also. You have an example where you are taking a rubber band. When you are stretching the rubber band, you can see the vibration. If you pull the rubber band, you will see the vibrations. Likewise, when objects vibrate, sound is produced. Electrical energy, electricity or electrical energy is also a kind of energy. We all know. How do we use electricity? Yes, we use electricity to run many electrical appliances or electrical machines. It may be at our home, or it may be in our school, or in factories, or in hospitals. Wherever we go, we make use of electricity. That is the electrical energy. Mechanical energy is the energy that an object has because of its position or movement. The energy produced by an object due to its position or due to its movement is called as mechanical energy. For example, water which falls from a high point has more energy than the water which is at a lower point. Wind energy. We have experienced wind, isn't it? Moving air is called as wind. So moving air makes the things also move. We will use the force of the wind to do many of our work. Wind can move the blades of windmills. These are the blades of windmills. So, windmills are helpful in generating electricity from the wind or moving air. That is called as wind energy. Producing wind energy does not generate any smoke. So, it is eco-friendly or environmental friendly. It does not pollute the nature. Water energy or hydropower. So, the energy that is obtained from water is the water energy. In order to obtain the energy from water, huge turbines or wheel-like things or turbines are used, and water is made to fall on these turbines, and these turbines rotate. So when these turbines rotate, the energy in the flowing water will be used to turn turbines and generate electricity. That is water energy. So, hydropower energy is also non-polluting. It is eco-friendly. Next, let us study about solar energy. The energy that we get from the sunlight is called as the solar energy, and we use sunlight in many ways by using solar panels or solar cookers or solar water heaters, isn't it? Yes, it can be used to carry out many functions. Solar energy is abundantly found on earth. Hence, there is no problem if we use solar energy instead of using other energies. For example, if we use energies from burning fuels, it creates smoke and other polluting gases which is very harmful to our environment or the nature. It causes pollution. That is why solar energy can be used in an abundant way, and it is the best alternative source of energy because it creates no pollution. The last energy we need to study is about the geothermal energy. Geothermal means the heat inside the earth is obtained in order to generate energy. Hot springs and steam from inside the earth are used in order to generate electricity. This way of generating electricity will not produce polluting smoke and gases. So geothermal energy is also a good alternative source of energy. Did you all understand the lesson, children? Hope everybody understood about the simple machines, about the energies and so on in this lesson.